get 5. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna go into our regular meeting, and then once I get my quorum, then we'll have the hearing. Okay? So all I'm doing is, because I need 5 people present when I open the hearing, okay, of my vote. If somebody else comes in after that, that's fine. But just for legal reasons, you have to have the number of people required for the vote, and you need 5 votes. Okay? Why don't we call to order on a regular meeting?
Okay, John Souza,
Here.
Carol Vittorioso, Mary Olivier,
Here.
Armin Millet,
Here.
Dave DiGiovanni,
Here.
Tom Kerrigan, Sal Chaconi.
Okay. The minutes of the previous meeting,
Move to accept the minutes.
Second.
motion made and seconded to accept the minutes.
Chairman, I have a correction to make on these.
Okay,
On the regular minutes, the date is reflecting September 7th, when it should be reflecting September 21st.
okay.
Move to accept the amended minutes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to amend the minutes to say September 21st. Are there any other changes? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Plan submitted. 3.1, A&R plan. Lino, Fiola, and Bruno, and Gaffin.
Bono and Grafton.
Going on
Bono.
Grafton Street.
Bono and Grafton Street. Okay. See what they have there. You can all look on one.
Oh, okay. What we have, looks like we have a a lot being conveyed over to Fiola, who owns this parcel. Presently, they own this parcel. This was the old property line right here. What they're looking to do is pick up lot 1. So they will own this piece right here. They'll own everything right up to here, and this is in separate ownership right here. So they're getting
One
lot
is
1.
being added.
Yep, lot 1 to be
Number
conveyed to.
720.
Yep, exactly. So they would own this parcel right here.
Okay. And that's that total, that 12,000 is the total? Or is the 12,000 that piece?
12,000 is just this piece.
Okay, this one is 10,000.
Correct.
Okay, that's 10,000.
And what's this?
That's part of the 12,000.
This is part of the 12,000.
Oh, okay, that's what I asked.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, so
Oh,
now
that's
you'd have the
okay,
10.
I see.
This is the old property.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. So
They're
they'd
adding
be,
this.
they'd be adding this to that. So this part would stand alone.
This becomes
and this would become-
12.5,
Yep.
the new lot 1
Yep.
is 12.5.
Right.
So there's 22,000 in residence B.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Looking to endorse the plan.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to endorse. Is there any further discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. 3.2, A&R plan, David Ringer on Tisdale Avenue.
This is the one, Chairman, that we spoke earlier
Yeah,
about.
we looked, this is a strange one.
Yeah, what they're doing is, as the chairman and I spoke about before, this used to be, if I understand it correctly.
It was all one lot.
One lot, okay? What they're doing is, they're breaking this off now to become its own lot, 10,010 square feet. It has the
Frontage.
accurate amount of frontage there, you know, the required amount of frontage, has the required lot size, and now you'd have this as the new parcel, and this all becomes one.
Zone.
It is Zone B,
B.
Residence B. So he meets the 10,000 that he needs, and his frontage is fine as well.
And the
4 units of 26,000 meets that.
Right.
area density requirement.
Right.
Everything's good to go.
Motion to endorse.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to endorse. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. A&R plan, Chris Maroney, Marguerite Avenue.
Okay, this is a single lot, and they're looking to put a single-family unit on the lot, and it received city council approval for residential in an industrial zone. And it's this piece right here, this parcel right here, 12,714, has its frontage on Marguerite.
That's just as you go down the hill. It's on the right-hand
Very
side.
good.
We went through
Yeah.
that one.
So the lot size is plenty, the frontage is fine.
And what was the vehicle for that? Was that a, is there an ordinance that allows that kind of special permit?
Right, through the city council.
Right.
And can you cite the ordinance, because that's gonna come up in another case also? If you could find it for.
Sure, I can find out for you.
I don't know what it is
I've never
offhand.
seen it, I just,
Yeah,
it
No,
was
that's-
a mystery at the last meeting, I would like to see where we get that ordinance from.
okay, that's fine, I'll have that information.
Thank you.
Yep.
No, that's not a good water, that's at the top.
It's on the right-hand, that's at the top of the hill, about halfway down.
We've already approved this.
Right.
The quarter acre lot,
Lot
surrounded
size.
by residential.
Yep,
Yeah, it's all residential on that side.
the lot size is fine, the frontage is
Very
okay.
good.
Okay with it?
I think a motion would be in order. Did we approve this with a condition that we find the ordinance that covers it? Okay,
For an A&R plan, it doesn't matter, it's a frontage lot.
that's the frontage.
Yeah, so that,
The ordinance would apply when they go for a building permit.
Well, that's true.
We're
Yeah,
just
this- we're
approving
not
the lot,
saying-
we're not approving what goes on it. So I'm
Okay.
hopeful that we endorse the
We
plan.
endorse the plan, but we'll make sure that the building inspector has the
yeah,
correct ordinance. Okay.
it's usually say not applicable lot. If it is.
Yep, motion is made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. 3.4, definitive subdivision plan. Richard Harrigan, on Cottage Street.
Chairman, this is the plan that we spoke earlier about. And
Right.
there was some confusion. I think there's actually some representatives here, which if you'd allow, maybe they could speak on the plan a little bit. I spoke to Whitman and Bingham, who designed the plan, and laid everything out. And the reason for it being brought in as a definitive subdivision plan was because there was a frontage issue originally. Even though it did receive its variance from the ZBA, they were under the understanding that they should still go ahead and file a definitive subdivision plan due to the fact that there was a frontage issue at one time with the plan.
I also got some further information on this,
Okay.
and I've been informed that there was case law about 3 years ago, and where it was appealed on the frontage, and the courts came back and said that yes, even though the zoning board of appeals had okayed the frontage, that it still had to be a definitive subdivision.
Okay.
So that case law is going to be given to us tomorrow,
Okay.
okay? So that we know exactly why we're doing it, and even though we question it, we have done similar things in the
Yep.
past.
Yep.
We've done A&R back 3-4 years ago. We find that now since that time, there has in fact been a case, and I think it was Chicopee, and there was case law that says we have to go to the definitive subdivision plan.
Right, and that was Whitman and Bingham's feeling was, despite the variances, that they still had to go forward and
That is
propose a
correct,
definitive
that's correct,
subdivision plan.
okay. Did someone else want to say anything on this? It's informal at this point.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure you were clear on.
Yeah.
Right.
No changing questions.
Right. So, we have, just that you understand, is we'd like to move this along, but we have requirements on a definitive of advertising of 2 weeks. And we would have had to advertise today for our next meeting, so we have to really skip the meeting to the, would you say would be on
November 16th.
November 16th is gonna be our earliest meeting that we can act on this.
So moved.
November 16th at 6:30?
Motion made and seconded for November, wait a minute, question.
Does the election,
I just thought about that. Because we're moving the election out, well, we never get it in the paper tomorrow though.
But the election is the first Tuesday.
No, we couldn't get it in tomorrow's paper. I mean, we could submit it to the newspaper tomorrow, but get it in as early as.
We don't have,
No.
The election's November.
well, let her look at the, November is the second of the election.
Yeah,
The first Tuesday.
Get it in the newspaper.
yeah.
They're already printing it. They're already
Yeah.
printing tomorrow's paper, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Fridays.
can't do it,
That's a ready for one, for the next time.
it has to be, would have had been in.
Well,
But remember, we're not meeting until
Thursday.
Thursday,
Thursday.
that's what I mean. We're not meeting until Thursday, the 4th.
There's a possibility you might
You can get it in tomorrow.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, why don't we shoot for that?
So we'll shoot for November 4th then at 6:30.
Right,
Okay.
November 4th, move to have November 4th if possible, and if not, if you can't get the advertising in, tomorrow we'll go for November 16th. Just want to leave the
Right.
authorization there to do it, either both ways.
okay. I have a motion for November 4th at 6:30 preference, if we can get the advertising into the newspaper and accept it in sufficient time. If not, then it'll be November 16th. Okay? Yes,
As I'm interested in the property, is there any possibility of a special meeting prior to November?
no.
Okay. Just give them the 2 weeks
It-
to advertise, then a,
That's a hearing.
Yeah, it's a public hearing, and it takes, if a regular meeting is on the 2nd, we couldn't make the 2nd.
yeah, but you can't make the meeting that you're having in 2 weeks, is it? Or is this next meeting,
Because it takes, requires 2 weeks in advance of hearings.
could you postpone the meeting on October 18th 2 days, so I could get in that time?
No, we don't make it.
It would have, if you submitted it for the paper,
I have other hearings scheduled for that meeting,
got it, right,
okay?
I apologize.
So we have to get it in now, and then it takes advance, and then it's the time. So
Right.
we're squeezing it, getting it for, I know what we pulled it back to 2 weeks, we're, trying to accommodate, and I know what your situation is, we're really trying to do our best.
Thank you.
And because of the election day not being Tuesday, if it wasn't and we're gonna have our meeting on Thursday, that gives us the extra day we don't normally have. So you're right on the minimum number of days,
Sorry.
okay?
Yep.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. Definitive subdivision plan, Peter Phillips, Murray Avenue.
Okay, this is also going to require a hearing. Same situation with the advertising. So I guess we can shoot for November 4th, 6:45.
Okay?
For the 16th, it's not possible.
Yes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for November 4th at 6:45 with the same condition on the 16th. Okay? With the same. Any discussion on this? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. 3.6, site plan, Tanzio Realty, New Lancaster Road.
Okay, this is going to require a hearing, and we can do this one in our second October meeting, October the 19th, at 6:45.
So moved.
Second.
The reason for that being so quick is?
Doesn't have the advertising
Yeah, no
requirement.
advertising
Just
required.
wanted to bring that out.
Yep.
Okay. Motion made and seconded for the site plan for Tanzia Realty, New Lancaster Road for October 19th at 6:45. Any discussion? Here and now, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. 3.7, site plan, Leominster Development on Adams Street.
Once again, requires a hearing. We can also do that one on the 19th of October at 7 o'clock.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded for the site plan, Leominster Development on Adams Street, October 19th at 7 o'clock. Any discussion? Here and none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. A special permit, Mitch Gill on Baker Street.
Okay, this also is going to require a hearing, and we can do that one on November the 4th at 7 o'clock.
So moved.
Second.
November 16th at the same time.
And the same condition on if we can't make the advertisement
Yep.
for the 16th.
Yep.
Okay. Motion made and seconded for November 4th at 7 o'clock, on the condition we get the advertising, or it would be scheduled for November 16th at 7 o'clock. Any discussion? Here now, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. Old business. We have any old business?
No old business. It's all
Old
new.
business.
It's all new.
New business. Okay, I can't do that.
So, under old business, is there any progress being made on the phasing of residential development? Anything new there?
On the phasing of residential development, meaning,
Has there been any new information or discussion?
with regard to that petition, we received some legal advice from Copeland and Page. They sent a letter explaining, after they looked at the ordinance, what the situation was. They didn't see any problem. I think it was a misinterpretation, and people were reading into the ordinance the wrong way. The ordinance kicked in after the 200 units was hit. So essentially what would end up happening is, with Mr. Xeris, who was the person with the petition, he wasn't going to be affected adversely like he thought he was going to be.
Just what, anything that comes after that?
Exactly. So he was actually going to be allowed to build 25% of his units. So that would break down to be, out of his number of units, roughly 70 over a 24-month period, which would give him 35, even though he has an agreement with the board
For
to only
30.
build 30 a year. So once Copeland and Page put a little insight into it from a legal perspective, everyone had a better understanding of it, and they recommended we don't alter the ordinance anymore because it reads fine. Just everyone was kind of looking at it from different
Except we
views.
should begin phasing all of the developments that come through here. If we're gonna do one, we should do them all.
Right,
Right. No, we agree with that.
yeah. So I submitted a letter to the city council, attached with that letter. Both Cataldo and I submitted a letter that we both signed to the city council, as well as the letter from Copeland and Page, giving them their legal insight that they had asked for.
That's good. Thanks,
Okay.
thanks, good report. Thank you.
So the ordinance held up as it is. Six point zero, communications, Boucher Construction, Sky Meadows subdivision waiver.
Yeah, does this require opening up a hearing?
I don't believe so, it's just a change, it's a waiver on the subdivision.
Is there anybody here to explain what's going on?
Do you have the letter?
I read the letter.
Yeah.
It's right here.
People don't want trees, is that it?
Yeah, it looks like, Armin, that they're requesting a waiver of the tree planting requirement for the Sky Meadow subdivision for the following lots. and they've circled them. It's in your packet, I don't know if you have a copy of it.
I have it, is there a reason?
Yeah.
This is all we got, right, from them. This is all that we received.
And what happens to the other lots? You're gonna have trees?
I would understand that they're probably, my understanding is that those lots, they'll be able to meet their requirement, you know, that they were supposed to. But for lots 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, and 11, that those are the ones they were asking for the waivers.
Oh, I'd like to see some reasoning for that.
Yeah. I do
Well,
too.
I had gotten a phone call from a couple of the people there. And I guess what's happened is, as they started the construction at the beginning of the road, and as they worked down the road, they hadn't finished all the landscaping. They did the landscaping, and they hadn't put the trees in. Then they went ahead, and the people on their own put in irrigation systems. So all of those houses have irrigations systems located where the trees would have to go, in-ground irrigation systems. So,
Oh, I see.
and they've done other landscaping with it and put in their own trees.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, so what's happened is that most of the there are trees there of their own design, and they're not in the location, but irrigation has been put in on these other sites. And it was sort of an oversight, or the people moved faster than the contractor moved. So it's on these, what's it, four
Yeah.
parcels?
Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
Six.
parcels. Yep.
6 of the 11,
Do irrigation
right.
You
and
need underwater sprinklers.
And underwater sprinkler
But
system.
if
And
they
private
put the trees
plantings.
somewhere else,
And current tree
I'd
plantings.
like to refer this to the site committee because I would have gone to see it, but I couldn't remember where Sky Meadow
I don't
subdivision
remember
was.
where
Sky
So
Meadows
what I would
off,
like to do in the future, whenever we mention a subdivision, mention which street it's off of, so that we can find it.
So where is it?
Sky Meadow is the one off of Harvard Street.
Off of Harvard?
It's the new one.
Willard?
No,
Oh, I know
Harvard,
what you mean,
Off
yeah.
of Harvard Street?
off of Harvard, the new development on the right-hand side when you're going up, Harvard Street from Route
Harrison
2.
Taylor, in that area?
The Harrison Taylor property, exactly.
All right.
The ex-Harrison Taylor property,
Sky Meadow off Harvard.
okay?
Thank you. I move to have the site committee go out and look and see what they've done for private plantings before we make a decision on it.
Okay, fine. I have a motion made in, do I have a second? To refer this to site committee and to be acted on at our next meeting. Okay? With that, I have a motion, I have a second. Do I have any further discussion? Here now, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. 6.2, a letter, Arthur Bergeron, Evergreen Meadows.
Sorry, Mr.
Hey,
Chairman.
Carol.
The second shift was late. I hope I didn't.
Get babysitting.
Do I have someone here from,
Mr. Chairman, I'm Arthur Bergeron.
oh, okay.
And I appreciate your willingness to hear this very briefly. I realize you've got a public hearing that's running late.
Okay,
If
yeah,
you could
why don't you do
possibly-
yours now? and-
That would be great, because I'm supposed to be in Berlin at 7:30. This is one of those.
Well, I know you'll be quick.
But, yes. Oh, yes. My name is Arthur Bergeron. I'm an attorney in Marlboro.
Okay.
I'm representing Neil and Geraldine Basile, who also live in Marlboro and have been developing.
Could you set that up over here?
I'll be glad to.
That way, the
Yeah, and I'll
TV,
stay
over here.
and she'll sit over there.
Yeah.
That way, everybody gets a chance to see it.
And you want me to speak from there too?
Yeah, speak from right over here.
All right.
That makes it easier for everybody.
Thank you. So as I was mentioning, my clients are Neil and Geraldine Basile. They've created a limited liability company in order to pursue the development of a 40-unit, single-family residential development here off of Willard Street, which goes all the way back to Well, in order, if you were, to orient you, if you were heading out Willard to Sterling, and you found all the construction equipment right now that's going for the big subdivision, that's right here. That's right here. We abut that subdivision, so we're just before that. There's an old farmhouse here on the in the front that will probably be taken down. That's going to be an A&R lot. The proposed comprehensive permit goes behind here. This is a scale of 1 to 60. So the proposed single-family houses, the first house would be approximately 250 feet from Willard Street. So, and you'd have a new single-family house, which would just be a regular market rate single-family house right on Willard Street, so that from the road, you wouldn't be seeing this proposal. This is now pending before the Zoning Board of Appeals. As we have indicated to the Zoning Board of Appeals, this is on a comprehensive permit, so we would be proposing to do this as a condominium. The condominium association will own the road, and the water pipe and the sewer pipe, and all of those will be the common areas. The condominium units will be the individual houses. These will all be approximately 1,400 to 1,600 square foot houses. And they will be sold to people who are over, where at least one of the family members is over 55. Because this is a comprehensive permit, 10 of the 40 houses will be sold at affordable prices. What that means, to give you a sense of that, is the market rate housing here will be selling, we're estimating, for probably about $250,000. That's the 30 units that are market. The 10 units that are being sold at affordable prices will be selling at around $125,000 to $140,000. The exact same house. It has to be the same, by the same house, it has to be the same square footage, it has to have the same appearance from the outside. There can be some additional amenities in the inside for the market rate houses, but otherwise it's the same house. 70% of those houses, or 7 of them, Leominster would be allowed to impose a local residential preference on. We would assume that there'd be a lottery for those, and that'd be a substantial draw. In filing for the comprehensive permit, one of the waivers that we asked for as far as the local regulations is concerned was from the site plan process from your permit, because the whole principle behind the comprehensive permit is that any of the permits that we would normally be getting pursuant to local regulations as opposed to pursuant to state regulations. Instead, we get one permit, that's why it's called a comprehensive permit, from the Zoning Board of Appeals. It has been my experience doing these, and I do quite a bit of comprehensive permit work, that typically there is a condition of the comprehensive permit, because the idea behind the comprehensive permit is that the level of plans that you are allowed to file initially are at the conceptual level, and not the kind of detailed plans that you usually would see, for instance, on site plan approval. It is typically a condition, therefore, of the permit that the developer would have to come back to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which would then solicit comments from you and from the police and fire and DPW, et cetera, in order to make sure that the site plan level plans were doing what were being proposed conceptually. What we're showing conceptually here is where the units are. We've also submitted to the Zoning Board of Appeals architectural renderings of the 4 kinds of houses that will be on the lots. We've located where the wetlands are, where the detention basins would be, etc. In the course of this process, which we would anticipate will go for several months, we filed back in, my recollection serves, in July. There have been two hearings now before the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have another one scheduled in next week. In the course of that, we've also been soliciting comments from the police, the fire, the DPW, from all the other players. The assistant, the deputy fire chief who does this, had a couple of comments because he wanted more fire hydrants located right on the site at this level. We have no problem with that. We're going to do that. He wanted to deal with some things regarding smoke detectors. We have no problem with that. We're going to do that. We're also speaking to, I'm going to be trying to stop over it, one of the neighbors who was across the street who was concerned because this road comes out, of course this always happens, right? The road comes out right across the street from someone's house, which is, their driveway is coming down, so they're concerned about lights and stuff going into the house. So we want to deal with them in terms of mitigation, trees, etc. So that is, I just wanted to give you a sense of this. One of the things that we told the Zoning Board of Appeals that we would do is to come before you to present this. I know that, or it was my understanding that the Zoning Board of Appeals has contacted you, just as they have contacted the police and the fire and the DPW, et cetera, in order to get their comments. Once again, as far as the comprehensive permit is concerned, the comprehensive permit does not take the place of the State Wetlands Protection Act, and therefore does not take the place of the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction, since that comes right out of the State Act. So we realize that once we've gone through all of this, if our plan gets approved, we need to go to the Conservation Commission to the extent that we're building within 100 feet of the wetlands. Some of you may have read in the papers that we may, Tommy the turtle may also live here somewhere on the site. There is briefly, under the state endangered species law, there are 3 kinds of species that are listed. Those are listed as endangered, which means they may go extinct. Those are listed as threatened, which means they're kind of in danger of being endangered. And then those are listed as being of special concern. That means they're kind of in danger of being endangered. There are 2 species of turtle that have been located around Lake Samoset that are in that 3rd category. They are of special concern, the wood turtle and the spotted turtle. When such a species is found, what happens at the Fisheries and Wildlife, at the Natural Heritage Program, is that one of their biologists will look at the terrain in the area, and based on the fact that they found one of those turtles, they'll basically draw a big circle or a big something or other. They're called polygons, or informally they're referred to as blobs. They'll draw a big blob and basically say it is possible that the turtle habitat may be somewhere in here. And we know that that estimated turtle habitat not only includes all of Lake Samoset and everything around it, but includes about 2/3 of our property. That doesn't mean that that's where the turtles are. That means that's part of where that blob. And once we have gone through this process, dealt with conservation, we're also going to need to go talk to Natural Heritage and talk about turtles. But that's kind of where we are. I'll be glad to answer any questions. I'll be glad to provide any information if you've got particular issues that you want us to address. And I know that the planning board, or that the zoning board of appeals is urging all boards to kind of submit comments to them, so that once again, their comprehensive permit will include dealing with any of the issues that you folks want to be dealing with. How's that? That was
Okay.
I don't want to run on, because I know there are a lot of folks here who aren't especially interested in my turtles or in
Okay.
evergreen meadows, etc.
Do I have any board members that have any comments?
In a normal subdivision, we allow 500-foot cul-de-sac, or the equivalent of 12 homes. And when it gets to be more than that, we look for a second means of access and egress. In other words, another way for that road to come out. What you have there is an equivalent of 500 times, close to 2,000 foot. What is the length of that?
This is a 1:60 plan, then that looks like about 900. I bet that's 900.
Plus, and then the other one is additive.
That's right, except that it'd go from there, right? So it'd be 8
Right.
plus 7, so that's about 50. It looks like it's about 1,500 feet.
So we would recommend that you look for another way to access that, so that you would have 2 ways in and out.
As a
We realize that that's a fire, that's both a...
That is a fire issue.
It's a fire issue and a police issue, we realize.
That's a safety issue. And how many acres is this?
20.
It's 20
There's
acres.
40 units on 20 acres.
So you're going 4 times, well,
So it's
Half acre.
So if we were dividing these into individual lots, assuming that you were factoring out for the road, you'd have slightly
You gotta
smaller
fact-
than half-acre lots. That's
you know,
right.
half-acre lots, you 20, you say 20 acres?
That's right. So we're definitely producing lots. I mean, the waiver that we're looking, one of the waivers that we're looking for, obviously, because in addition to the fact that we're looking for more than one house on a lot, since technically this is just going to stay as one lot, is the fact that we've got houses that are on lots that are smaller than would normally be allowed. That is the, if there is one waiver that is the automatic waiver in all comprehensive permits, that's it.
And what about the open space? Does that add to that acreage, or is that included?
That's included. That's the 20 acres.
Can you point out the open areas?
Is this area here, goes along here and here and there. So we're clustering the houses close to the roads. That's right.
So you're building on about 15 acres,
Yeah, or 15 or less.
or less.
That's right.
So your density is, we're looking at densities about 4 times what we normally would see in the city.
Well, no,
Round
well,
figures.
well, you're looking at densities that are much higher than what you're currently zoned for. You're looking at densities that look a lot like, actually, like the densities that exist in the center
In
of Leominster.
residential C.
Or in the center of Leominster, or right over here in Lake Sampson.
So what
You actually got lots mostly that are bigger than the lots of Lake
what size
Sampson.
are these lots now, down to about a quarter acre?
Oh, no, they're smaller than that. Well, that one's 21,000 square feet, that one's 14,000, that's 11,000,
Yeah, those-
that's
Those
13,000.
are quarter acres.
These
Yeah,
are
that's
16,000.
what
That's right.
Between the quarter and the
Around a
third.
quarter.
That's right. That's right. And the whole rationale behind that is that obviously, if all of these houses, if this were built as currently zoned, you would not be generating this number of units. You'd be building all of those units at market rate. Basically, the purpose of Chapter 40B is to induce developers like the Faciles, like my clients, who traditionally only built, they've spent their whole lives building single-family houses. And over their time, they used to build single-family houses on 10,000 square foot lots. And now they build single-family houses on 60,000 square foot lots. Because over those 30 years, everybody in Leominster and Marlborough and the rest of the world has just kept upzoning in order to keep kids out of their town, in order to avoid the residential cost impact. Well, no, and we're all doing this. I mean, it's for very legitimate financial reasons. But as a result of that, they just kept building bigger and bigger and more expensive houses. So the whole point of Chapter 40B is to provide a device through which houses can be built which are less expensive. This is all being built without an external subsidy. There is no state or federal subsidy to this. This is entirely an internal subsidy. So basically, the profit that's being made through the other 30 houses is subsidizing down the cost of the other 10 houses. And that's the standard. That's how
And the
comprehensive.
local preference that you mentioned, is that a sure thing?
Yes, you can put that right in as a condition of your permit, and that's enforceable. And under state regulations, the 70% local preference is enforceable.
70% of,
So it'd be
Up to
7 out of
10
10
units?
That's right. That's right. So basically what you would do is, it has been our experience, as you can well imagine, there are a lot of people who tend to be interested in the availability of a house that would normally sell at $250, but is now selling at $125
that
to
would be
$130.
7 lots going into a local lottery.
There would be a local lottery, that's right, and that would be available to people. We are proposing to make houses the regulation requires us to make houses available at prices that can be affordable to someone earning 80% of median income in the area. We're proposing to make them affordable to people earning 70% of median income in the area, and that number is approximately $42,000. So it would be housing available to people who are earning $42,000 per year or less. And in the case of over 55, there's also an asset limit, because folks have found typically that folks are over 55, the issue isn't income, it's assets. There's a cap on assets of $150,000 in addition to their equity in the house. So in other words, they could pay cash for the house, have $150,000 in the bank. If they're earning less than $42,000 per year, they qualify to be in the lottery. And it's been our experience that these lotteries tend to be pretty popular.
You know,
The question I've got is, one of the questions I have is,
Yes, Mr. Super.
we've got a lot of building on that Willard Street,
You certainly do.
okay? As I look at this, an additional 40 units on Willard Street, it doesn't fit. It really doesn't. And I'm looking at it as a shoehorn. It's stuffing extra property in here and using 40B as a vehicle. I don't disagree with 40B, but Leominster is getting very close to its 10%. And the whole concept of 40B is, and I'm looking at this as really being stretched. And you're getting into residential A and doing residential C building. We also have, and the other builders that have built in this area, we've asked them for mitigation. And that mitigation has been to assist in the upgrade of the Jitech water pump station, assist in repaving of Willard Street, putting in sidewalks, the sewer line, and also the lights, if they ever happen, on the intersection of Willard and Central. Okay? And we've sort of worked out a formula for that, where so much per unit has been like for the thing of Central. Are you prepared to participate in that and do your fair share?
There is no off-site mitigation included in our pro forma at this point. And the regulations and the decision of the Housing Appeals Committee have been pretty consistent on this, in their position that for communities that have not met their 10% quota, that it is inappropriate to be basically assessing off-site mitigation, which is essential and which the town or the city has a responsibility to provide on the production of affordable housing. Now, having said all of that, my person's a builder who's been building for a long time, and when we get to the end of the day and we're talking about what are the conditions of the permit, who knows what might happen. But I'm telling you that's
You misunderstood my question.
Oh no, I understood your question.
My question was, are you prepared? I cannot put a criteria on you, and we both understand that. I am saying I'm looking for an offer. As a good builder is coming in, you are putting a severe, you're throwing a density at us that is above and beyond anything that we ever dream of approving. If you ever came in with that plan to me, you'd be in and out of here in 5 minutes.
Of course, that's the reason why it's possible.
That's right,
That's right.
okay, and basically, and this is the exact problem with 40B. Okay, there are some cases where 40B has worked well. And I'm looking at this is nothing but putting single-family homes on subsidized lots. And you can call it a condo, but it's like, it's just beating down everything we tried to accomplish. Not only in Leominster, but other cities and towns. And it's gotten way out of hand. And I look at that, and it doesn't meet any good planning criteria at all. The concept of getting 10 more homes, but if you were to just take that land, I'm taking roughly 20 acres, which you're telling me 15 acres are usable. If I got 15 acres and I gotta put in roads and stuff, I gotta lose 2 or 3 acres, so I'm down to about 10 or 12. I'm looking at probably 12 to 14 houses. And you got 40.
Yeah, I think the figure was 23. I think that they did an as-of-right plan.
Well, 23, but you're 23 at market rate, you're getting 30 at market rate. Okay, so you're getting at least 7 more at market rate, plus you're getting
That's
the
right.
additional 10 that are gonna be at
Which
the,
we're losing money on. And that's the whole concept behind the 40B. That's right. That's exactly right.
okay?
Understood.
Well, I mean, you'll break even. Okay, you probably won't make any profit on those homes, because it'll be part of to the scale of your manufacturing. I'm not into what you're making or breaking, I really don't care. What I'm looking at I'm saying there's a big advantage to your builder to come in here and do 40B, because they actually get 7 extra homes. And without even looking at the market rate, and then your market rate was saying, you may or may not, and let's look at those that are break-even situation.
I was going to say, I should mention, which I should have mentioned earlier, that another piece of the 40B requirement is that we're capped in our profit at 20%. To the extent that we make more than 20% as a result of market forces that push up the market rate units or whatever, that money all goes back to the city of Leominster for the production of more affordable housing. But having said that, I hear what you were saying, and I guess what I would suggest to you is that that is just the kind of comment that you should be making to the zoning board of appeals in terms of the things that they should be dealing with in terms of what their conditions should be.
Oh,
And that's just...
we will have that type of discussion as we look at this plan and we see it, and I don't see a lot of detail because it's only an outline, it's not a definitive plan. I'm looking at something that has a vast impact on Willard Street. Much more, because we're looking at, schools and impact there, the roads, the traffic.
Excuse me, this is over 55. Actually, you'll find that there are no school children in here. As a matter of fact, that's one of the restrictions that would be on all of the units, is there'd be no children under 18 that would be allowed to live there. And secondly, I think you'd find as a result of that,
Well, this takes
that
one
your traffic
person.
impact is probably going to be about the same as it would have been for a 23-house
Have you done a traffic study?
No.
Are you intending
we're
to do a
going
traffic impact?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be a request that we'll make to the ZBA.
You know, I'd like to go back to the cul-de-sac.
Yes, ma'am.
We do need affordable housing, but I think there are a lot of things to consider. have you looked into a second exit on this? That's such a long cul-de-sac that,
Right here is, if my recollection serves, is some of the housing that is being built right now on the side of one of the that big subdivision. My recollection serves. So
It's in that general area.
So that subdivision wasn't designed with a cul-de-sac for us to connect into. I know that we're not prepared to go buy a couple of lots from that guy so that we can build the extension.
but from a safety thing, I'm sure, you know, you're gonna hear from the other departments about that. And I'm probably more lenient about cul-de-sacs than anybody on the board, but, you know, this is very unusual.
I understand.
And from a safety thing, I'm wondering if they're gonna let you do that.
And I think that's the issue that we need to address with both police and fire, in terms of what the safety implications are, to make sure that they've got enough access to get to those.
And what's your road width?
My recollection serves, we're meeting the
72 feet?
the local subdivision road. That looks right, actually, it looks like that road is wider than that. Because that's 1 inch equals, 1 inch equals 60 feet, so this, it looks like your right-of-way is a 60-foot right-of-way.
Well, probably 50-foot right away. But it's okay, you're just showing the right of ways, you're not showing, again, you're not the
That's
defender
right.
for your sidewalks or any of that stuff.
That's right.
Okay.
But we're not asking for waivers from any of those subdivision regulations. The sidewalks, the width of the road, none of that.
Mhm.
Okay, I guess we'll all be out there helping to look for turtles then.
Any other questions?
I don't have any more questions. Board members? This is not a real public hearing, and I get about 5 minutes. Is anyone from the audience that wants to say anything? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is James Lanciani Jr. I'm a counselor at large for the city of Leominster. I apologize for not being here at the beginning, but I was at a retirement event for an auxiliary police officer. I come in and may I ask, is it 7 or 10 homes that are going to be affordable?
10,
10.
of which
10.
7 would have local Leominster priority. The state regulations says that Leominster, as a condition of the approval of the permit, can require that up to 70% of all the affordable units have a local priority. And by the way, they don't define.
It's still
what-
10.
That's
Okay,
right.
because I heard 7 when I came in. And I realize that the zoning board of appeals is meeting on the 13th. And I would hope that your honorable body will have a recommendation to, or questions to the board that evening, because in the regulations, from what I have seen, they cannot act on it unless any city body that, as the Conservation Commission, this board, and I know the fire department's made a recommendation, but recommendations have to be to the zoning board so that they can look at it and see what the story is. I would hope that either this board or the zoning board, because I will be there, will put a 99-year restriction on the affordable and with the 55-year and older, such as Mr. Bevenzi has done on Liberty, the buildings on Lancaster Street with his development. I don't know if you're aware, and I wasn't aware, that affordable housing is only good for 15 years. And after 15 years, it goes away. Well, we have never reached our percentage of involvement as far as affordable housing is concerned. If at the end of 15 years, we still aren't there, then we still have a long ways to go. And that is why I am asking, and I will be asking the Zoning Board of Appeal to put a restriction on there so that we don't lose the percentage or the number of houses that go towards what our goal is. As long as I've been a councilor, as long as I've been around, we haven't been able to meet the goal. And what's happening is there are some problems there and up there with the turtles, the rare species and so forth. I think the neighbors, there was a meeting last Wednesday evening at the Eagles, and I think the neighbors were very, very good. And I thought that they were there to ask questions and to ask Mr. Bergeron and the developer to work together. I personally left there a little disappointed in the fact that I would think that they would have had a meeting with some members from the Lake Samoset Association who were there and who have brought to the attention of the developer and the attorney that there were some habitat and some things there that should be looked at. And on the application that went into the state, it says no, unknown. So I was a little disappointed because I've always found that when a developer comes into the city of Leominster, that he wants to do something, and we want them to do something. But we also want to be able to work without having a lot of problems. And I think that there could have been a little bit of cooperation. There was a meeting held in January. The second meeting was held last Wednesday evening. And a lot of things happen in between. And I know it takes time to do everything. But I just hope that this body, if you have questions and concerns, that it does get to the zoning board so that at that October 13th meeting, they will know what the questions are. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, just through you.
Go ahead.
We're prepared to agree that we'll put all the affordable units in perpetuity. So we just go forever.
That's fine.
Just for information, is never reach that 10% because the 10% is only controlled housing. And that's the way, so if you have Section 8 housing, or you have somebody that has regular apartments that would be deemed affordable, they don't count. So we have way more than 10% affordable housing in Leominster. It's just that the state, the way they've set up the formula, it's only housing that is controlled by the city or the state. So, even, mobile homes are not counted as affordable. So really, it's not right. There are a lot more than 10% on Leominster, and we shouldn't be subject to this type of issue but we are. And until we can get that law changed, we're stuck with it. So, with that, do I have any questions from anybody from the board? Okay, at this time I declare this closed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Once again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. We'll try to get the answers to you as quickly as possible. Thank
Do
you.
we have a plan on this, Andy? Or is
We've
that
never
the only?
received a plan. No.
We've never received a plan?
Just the zoning board.
Oh, in that case, we'll send you a copy of the plan.
Okay.
All right.
Can you leave that plan with us? So if I discuss it and I want to get something to the
I'm embarrassed that
ZBA.
it's on the front of another one of my plans.
Oh, okay,
But I
fine, but we don't, the only plan we have is that one.
We'll deliver this to you, we'll deliver a copy of this to you tomorrow.
Okay,
Is that right?
fine.
Thank you very much.
At this time, just to move forward, I'm gonna go back to my 6:30 hearing. I want to apologize to you folks, we're just about an hour late. And,
No, it's just 9 minutes.
yeah, and I appreciate your indulgence, okay? At this time, I'd like to call the 6:30 public hearing for Norma Soares and 10 registered voters, amend the Leominster zoning ordinance by adding martial arts school studio to the table of uses in a business A. That shouldn't be business A, that should be business B. Is that correct?
It says A,
It says A here, but I
it
believe it's
says
B.
A in the hands letter.
Just say, I think it's B.
Well, it's a lot of business B, but we wanted to
Their,
You'll never
their
get an A.
residence is zoned business A. They bought the building and, so that's when they were told they had to get a petition to add martial arts studio to business A.
Okay, okay, so business A is what you want?
Yes.
Okay, it is correct, okay. I thought it was B, that's all right. Could you, yeah, could you please, I'll let him, are you all set, sir?
Yes, we found an extra plan, so we just let them.
Oh, beautiful,
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. Do you have a presentation that you'd like to make for us?
Thank you.
That's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, as you see in the pictures, the house, it's located on Lancaster Street. And we bought this house last year. We bought the house with the intention to open our own business there.
Mm-hmm.
We live on the second floor, and now there is a granite office, a showroom or office down first floor, but there is a back, in this back area here, that's
Right.
where we want to open the school. It's, I think, 1,600 square
Square
feet on it. And, yeah, Manuel, that's my husband, he's a martial arts master, and I also help him teach too, we used to teach at Central Street a few years ago. Well, and then we found out we could not open the school because it wasn't zoned for martial arts. So that's why we're here to ask if we can have that change it, if we can open the school. It's gonna be like I have here, small classes. I changed it to 4 because I have a parking plot that the parking design, I had an engineer design it. I only have 4 spaces for the studio. So like have schedule 3 classes in a day. Have small classes.
How many students do you average in your class?
4 to 5 students per class. But 4 is the number that I pretend to open.
So, parking,
And the
that's the-
parking for that's the parking. I have the garage in the back, so you see the picture shows a little bit. I had to remove that in order to have the 7 spaces. This was done, Fred. I wish he was here to explain a little bit better. My English is not very, clear.
You're doing fine.
Language, but that's how.
And how are you, where's the road coming, where's your driveway coming down here?
Yes.
Oh, I see crushed stone, okay.
Yeah, he tried everything that there's no storage.
So you'd end up 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 4 over there.
Yes.
And then what's this another parking
There's
place?
another
Oh,
parking.
this is
That's
no
fine.
storage.
There's 3 here, another one
Oh,
here.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
I hope it's
Okay,
here too.
and then you got a retaining wall and that.
This trailer here, I have to
Oh, like a
move
tractor
that.
trailer,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
It's been there for,
And what was here before in this building?
well, when we bought the
Is
building,
this
it
the
was,
Nautilus?
It used to be anonymous many years ago, yeah.
used to be Marshall, used to have school there too, a long time ago.
It's 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's a granite showroom now, like granite countertops.
Yeah,
It's the front.
in the front here, it says
I like 600 for office, but the granite countertop in the back is 1800 for martial art.
Okay.
And it has 2 bathrooms, you know, like it's.
And these requirements you got from both?
Well, we just, we had to design, you know, the parking, to find out how many parking, you know,
That's
parking.
what they
for-
Oh, okay, I didn't know if that was, I didn't know if that was numberable from them or something, all
No,
right.
she's already been
They
before the
agreed to
planning
use it.
board a few times. The planning board that we went
and
on.
but, this is the, this is the zoning board.
The last
The
meeting
ZBA.
is when they came up with, it's no longer under business A. So then we had to leave again and go get a
This is
petition
not
to
business A?
get it back on business A.
Because
See, it
my,
doesn't fit on the business A, it would have to be, you would have to change it to, see, that's what the problem is. You normally, this would be allowed in business B. And in essence, what you're doing is you're changing not only this lot, but every lot in the city, this business A. And I'm not sure, pro or con, I'm not speaking, I'm just giving you general information. And that's why I have a little bit of concern about making a change like this, because it doesn't just affect your property, but affects all business A property in the city. So that means that if somebody says martial arts, well, is martial arts similar to a dance studio? Okay, that means now a dance studio could be in any business A property in the city. And that's I don't have a concern with what you folks are trying to do. The only concern I have is with the vehicle, or the method that you're trying to do, because what you're trying to do in changing the zoning, you're not changing just your property, you're changing all the business A in the city to allow martial arts. And to tell you the truth, as I'm standing here talking to you now, Armin's got the map there. Do we have the big map to try to figure out where business A is?
That's right there. This is the business A you're looking at. They're also at various intersections, mostly for neighborhood convenience stores. Business A.
See, business A was always set up as like a neighborhood convenience store, so it was a sort of a business in a,
In a house.
yeah, in a house, you know, a business in a house, a business in like a convenience.
Bobo's is up in the middle of French Hill with all the.
Exactly, exactly, and that's what it was designed for. This sort of moves that out of there, and
but martial arts isn't specifically listed under the table of uses.
right.
That's what her petition was for, to get it on there so that she could go
See,
back
it's
to
not
the zoning
listed.
board and.
So the ZBA told you you couldn't get a special permit?
No.
Variance. Couldn't get a
They couldn't get a
variance.
use permit?
Well, I think we should open this up to the public for the public hearing part, and we can all
Yeah, I
kick
think
it around
Armin's
at our
right.
meeting.
Just read this. Read this.
Couldn't they get a variance?
No, there's many ways you could go. One of the
But
ways could
if you
be
read
special
that-
permit from the city council.
Or maybe you have to get a variance from the zoning board. Why do you get special?
Can't, unless it's listed in the table of uses.
Even a variance?
Right.
That's right, yeah. Okay.
But it doesn't say why though. It says in this situation, you know, in the,
It was changed, right?
The day of the meeting,
Yeah.
they
When we
got a
had
letter
Saturday, the
that
meeting.
it was changed and they could no
With
longer.
the zoning board, we went
Hmm.
to the meeting, when we were supposed to bring the parking, spot, and
Right.
right there, they told us, they got the letter, and they could not, you know, have,
They could not do it, as I read that quickly, I'll let Carol interpret it. My interpretation is because martial arts are not listed anywhere as a use.
But that was like the third meeting we had been to, you know?
I'm not, please, I don't want to make any comments on the ZBA.
what they're saying is that if it's, you can seek relief from the ZBA only if it's listed in the table of uses under, for a special permit can be granted by the special permit granting authority. If it says SPGA. But if it's not listed at all, with the city, I'm assuming the city, from the city solicitor saying, then they have to get it on, they have to have it listed in
As
the
a
table
special
of
permit?
uses as a for a special permit, then they go back before the ZBA for a special permit. So they have
Yeah.
a two-step process. First we have to
So-
get it listed and then they have to get it on.
As, what you're saying there, then, what I understand, this recommendation would have to be amended, should be amended. This is just a suggestion, that this recommendation would be amended to say that a martial arts studio could be located in Business A with a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals. And that way, that would give them a restriction on the, so in other words, it wouldn't be allowed across the city. They would have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit.
See, music and dance schools are listed already.
Right.
I'm looking,
Is this a dance school?
music and dance schools are listed and it's not,
Martial arts.
But it's all music and dance too.
How do you identify it? Yeah.
Capoeira is music and dance.
What I read in the book
Dance
is that
is,
it's martial arts disguised as dance.
Yeah,
Now,
this is
That's what it says
Brazilian
in this
martial
book.
art.
there's actually a good article that was just in the parade section in there, which really explains capoeira.
but
And-
well,
It's all music. They play music throughout the whole thing.
Right.
Oh,
But people learn to play the instruments,
Mhm.
the students, and
I'm-
it's a form of
Why
dance.
do you
I-
call
if
it
I were-
martial arts?
Because that's what the zoning board told us to call it.
You mean you could change?
That's right here. Capoeira is a defensive martial art developed in Brazil by enslaved Africans who disguised it as dance.
Yes, that's one.
So, I mean, this is what you're telling us. So
You better- to
But
be
it's
honest with
martial
you,
arts
in-
disguised as
in my
dance.
opinion, you're better off calling it martial arts and asking that it be listed under Business A and that you have to be granted a special permit because
By the city council.
by the city council, the zoning board of appeals, who's the
City council.
granting authority,
City council.
whoever the granting authority is.
It could be the
Because
ZBA, could be
for the
the way.
music-
CBA.
Because
I would rather see it by an elected body.
Okay, whatever, it doesn't make any difference.
Because
That's up to the
the
city
reason is-
council.
the reason is, for music and dance is listed under the table of uses, it's not permitted at all under Business A, so you don't want to really fall into that category. I think you want to be a separate category. I've looked through this whole thing, and you're not in here, it's
But-
not under here at all.
But if it were to
Under
be
any-
listed, that's where it would appear,
Mhm.
near
Well-
that music or dance school listing.
Well,
So,
why couldn't it also go under places of amusement or under recreation?
business
Oh,
use,
well,
the business use.
yeah,
To business use, Carol.
I think more of like.
I'm looking under business use, places of amusement.
No, it's not really amusement.
I'm looking where it's listed.
It's the page before places of amusement. Page 38, second from the bottom, penultimate.
Music or dance school,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one you're reading, the penultimate one?
Right.
I would say it would fall right in that category. I mean, where we place it doesn't make any much difference. I think the recommendation would be that the city council allow it with a special permit from either themselves or the ZBA. You know, let them make the decision on which way they want to go. I don't have a problem with what you're trying to do. I'm just trying to get the right methodology so that it's done right.
Why don't we open up to the, if
Let's
there's anyone
open
here.
this
who
up.
wants to-
Okay. I want to open this up to the audience. Do I have anyone else in the audience that has any questions or comments? Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Wayne Nickel from the City Council. Norma got in touch with me and explained the situation that she was going through. And as you probably well know, we've been through attempted zoning changes across the street, none of which have been particularly successful. Evil Moray and...
Right, I know exactly where it is.
So essentially, when she called me and told me about what she had gone through, how she had gone through the zoning board of appeals, paid the money, got there, explained the whole thing, went back again, and then was told, no, you have to do it another way because it's not allowed. And she called me and said, what do we do? Now we're kind of in the middle of this and we don't know which way to go. I attempted to meet with Mr. Cadaldo a couple of times and wasn't successful. I did speak with Stacia in his office, who we looked at the map, found out the business, that it was Business A. And then essentially what we were told was you can either try to change the zoning, and with all the different zoning changes that have been going on lately, I said to them, you know, you're gonna have a real uphill battle, especially in this neighborhood, because essentially some of the neighbors had spoken against changing the property across the street. Or, as was suggested by the building department, you could add this to the table of uses. At this time, this seemed essentially the way that was gonna have the least negative effect on the project, at least on their part, and perhaps even on the neighborhood too. Because I really didn't know at that point how big an area we would have to go through. Would be, you know, we couldn't obviously have spot zoning, would we be talking from Wheeler Street up to Florence Street, how big an area? And so I suggested at this point, and we worked on the wording, that we look at the table of uses and try to change that. So we can obviously amend the petition, and she can amend the petition to the city council as far as who the granting authority would be. But at this point, you know, just over the weekend, in fact, my wife, she grew up in Quincy, and we went back to her neighborhood where she grew up. And she pointed out different things that had happened in her neighborhood. And I think any of us who lived in Leominster can think of all the little businesses that were in housing fronts at the time. You know, I can remember walking down from Hamilton Street to the end of Tree Street, a little variety store that was in a house there. Essentially, because of the size of the classes that she was going to have, the size of the building, I'm sure the building inspector isn't going to allow but a certain number based on the square footage of the area that's going to be in there and the number of exits that she's going to have, that I don't see where this is going to have by doing it this way, I think it would actually have a less negative aspect on this particular neighborhood. Now, obviously, as you said, and I realized at the time, that now we are opening this up citywide. However, a martial arts studio in a business area, to me, is not as intrusive as several of the other things that could have been added at this point. And so therefore, essentially, what I had said at the time was, I'm not really speaking in favor of the petition, I'm speaking essentially in favor of these folks, is they're trying to come up with some kind of a mechanism that's going to help them fulfill a long-time dream that they've had in a building that's already had a number of uses over the years. And this seemed to me the less intrusive way to affect a neighborhood without being, I don't think, all that deleterious to the other business A uses by adding this to that table citywide.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. And what we're trying to do is, the only concern I had was making the change citywide to Business A without having some kind of control. If we add in here that it's a special permit from either the city council or the ZBA, and you guys can make that decision, then that gives the city the control so that it doesn't get into an area that may be some opposition, or at least that the people in the neighborhood would have some say. Okay, so all we're trying to do is protect other people in other parts of the city, not having an effect on you. But it wouldn't affect this zoning or this change. It just means that it's a vehicle, and we probably want, if we want to change that, if we wanna change it, we probably wanna add it to both. And also look at doing the same thing with business B. Okay, if we're gonna look at it, we might as well make the recommendation that it should be no A and B and put the same criteria on.
Essentially, as long as we get this on a list of uses at least.
Right, exactly.
Essentially, when it was looked at now, is essentially what you didn't look
Yeah.
at, you didn't say what is allowed, but rather, we didn't say what isn't allowed, but rather what is, and it's not there. And it's so strictly constructed that essentially, if it isn't on that list, then we're always gonna have to go through this process of, adding
Yeah.
something to the list that nobody thought of at the particular time.
So-
For example, what is allowed would be retail stores, dry cleaning, laundry, beautician, barber shop, shoemaker, dressmaker, tailor shop, printing and publishing companies, restaurant with dining rooms including the right to dispense alcoholic beverages. Those are already, all those are allowed.
Yeah.
Business A.
Business A.
So if you look at some of those uses,
Yeah.
martial arts.
They're more
studio-
intrusive.
They're more intrusive.
Oh, exactly.
A restaurant's
I
more
agree.
intrusive than that.
Thank you for
you.
consideration.
Yeah, okay.
They shouldn't have to go through this.
Thank you, you did a very good job, no problem.
I'll handle that.
Do I have anyone else that has any comments or questions? How about the board?
My only comment is that I hope that we can find a way to get it done for them.
Okay,
Personally, I think
But I
there's no
think
reason
that's
why
the
they
best
shouldn't be.
way.
well, we'll get that into the
Does she have to do
discussion.
another petition?
What's that?
Does she have to do
Oh,
another?
no,
she's
we
gonna
can,
do it
we
for
can
her.
recommend the changes from here
We can do it
to
for
make that work. A motion would be in order to close this hearing?
Well, anybody else?
So moved.
No. Motion made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, motion carries.
Nobody was approved.
I'll go into 5.0, which is new business. Norma Soares and 10 registered voters amend the Leominster zoning ordinance by adding martial arts studios to the table of uses in Business A district.
Well, since this is fresh in all of our minds, I move that we would add martial arts school / studio or
Mm-hmm.
to the table of uses and to be allowed by special permit of the city council or whoever the city council determines for business A, B, or commercial. Business A, business B, or commercial.
Second.
Do you want to make commercial a yes?
With special permit.
In a commercial district, it could be,
Commercial,
that's wide open, that could be a yes
Yes,
without a
that
special
could be.
permit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Special permit could be for business A or business B.
So allow
Well, it's a question on business
business
B also, it could be a yes in business B because that's pretty wide ranging, that's the whole downtown.
A, right. So I'd say just allow special permit and either
Special permit in business.
either city
Yes,
council
in business
or,
B or commercial.
and then business B and commercial, a yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
special
because-
permit,
Yeah.
just business
That's
A
my
and B.
motion because that would make it parallel to music or dance school.
That's right.
Mhm.
Say again?
Let me explain what we're recommending a change to the city council. The recommended change is that the table use is what you want in business A with a special permit from either the city council or ZBA. The city council will determine which way they wanted to do that. Okay? That doesn't make any difference to us. Plus, in business B, it would be allowed without a special permit, and business C and commercial, it would be allowed without a permit. Okay, so that way martial arts could be used across the city, but in the other two areas which are less restrictive, they could use without a special permit. Okay, and then that means that the building inspector could issue the permit without going through any other body.
Just to make this complete, it would be listed as no in all of the residential districts.
Okay,
That's right.
Yeah.
and no,
No in the industrial district.
okay, and no in all other districts.
Correct.
I second that motion.
Okay? Is that,
This is what,
do you have any questions of what we're recommending to the city council?
No.
For the next step,
Councilor,
you know.
what's that?
What is the next step?
Okay. Ways. We can write it up and you can get together with Mr. Taylor and he can give the change to you, so you can submit the change to the city council. Okay, and that would save them a step. In other words, you can amend your original petition. That's not a problem, I believe. I don't believe that's a problem.
I don't think it's a problem.
Okay, so you can amend your original petition with the recommendations that we made. That will go to the city council, they'd have the hearing, and it would be all done. And they wouldn't have to bring up the amendments and all the changes like that, because it'd come to them from you with the amendments, or the change. Okay?
And is that here at City Hall?
Yeah,
On the second floor. So,
and we'll have the minutes, give us a couple of days to write up the minutes, and then the next day or so, and then we can get that, and we can get that to you, or get that, your motion. You just gotta sign it, we'll do it, and then we'll get that to the city council. Yes?
Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to, but it's not gonna be just as easy as that. I mean, it's gonna take time and it's not gonna be done in 2 weeks, so.
Oh, no.
Just so they don't get their hopes up, because I'm a little confused on it, because I was told that it's only in A that the changes, they could do it in B and others, so, but
No, they can't.
I
It's not listed in any, Any zone.
realize that, but in speaking with the building inspector, I was led to believe otherwise, so, but we will check it out.
okay. So you all set?
Thank you.
So I have a motion, do I have a motion on the floor?
Yeah, second.
Motion made and seconded, to recommend, to the,
Ready this year?
yes, you can have that. Recommend approval with amendments to the city council. Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
So right down there, we'll check it on the basement.
Okay, let's go to 6.2, Arthur Bergeron, Evergreen Meadows.
That's all done.
Yeah, 6.3.
We're on 6.3.
No, 6.2. We did 6.1, and we had,
That was the 40B.
that was the 40B,
Correct.
but that's on the communications. Are we gonna make a recommendation to the ZBA?
Yeah.
I think the Mr. Chairman, the ZBA is looking for feedback. Remember the information I sent to you when I
Right.
faxed it to you? So they are looking for comments from departments, boards, that kind of thing. So, yes, I believe they're looking for some kind of recommendation from us. If we want to give one, it's not mandatory, but they offer it up, the different departments, boards, the opportunity to make a suggestion.
Well,
make
so my
recommendations.
question is do we wanna handle this at this point? Under this communications, because there's no place else on the agenda.
Sure.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, out of the recommendations on this, you made the presentation, do we want to make recommendations to the ZBA, and it's up to the board members, concerning Evergreen Meadows and that 40B condominium project?
We had referred that earlier to the site committee.
No, we have not referred that to site committee yet. We referred, we Sky Meadow,
Oh,
the site.
this guy, yeah, okay.
The other meadow.
This other meadow.
Yeah, the other meadow.
All right, yes. Oh, yeah.
This is the 40B project off of Willard Street.
Right. You know, they're coming in, making the issue that since it's going to be a private road, it would be no burden on the city. But we've found that in other developments where they were sold to the city as private roads, and they would have private plowing, private trash pickup, and everything would be private, and they would be no burden to the city. Now we're finding all those people are coming in and demanding those services of the city, and it's getting to be a big issue.
But they're not granting those.
Well, they shouldn't, because that's changing the rules on how those
So
projects
even
work.
though the people may complain when they bought into those, they knew what it was, and I think it's the same way here, that you don't change that around. But, you know, I don't think we have too much control of anything, but I think we should show our concerns about length of the cul-de-sac.
Yes, that's correct. We should be looking for a second way.
Yeah, they don't seem to have
Anything
one.
more than 12 units, you know, 500-foot cul-de-sac, or the equivalent of 12 units on a longer cul-de-sac, is what has been established
Pretty much.
as a
And I'm
reasonable
sure the
way
fire
to go.
department will be
Okay.
concerned about this.
So first condition, the first note is that it doesn't meet any current zoning criteria at all.
No, absolutely doesn't.
Well, okay.
Yeah, we don't have much control.
So, well, okay, the excessive length of the roadway and the safety issue,
It's a safety issue.
okay? We'd like to see a second exit, okay?
And to get one, they may have to cut back on the density.
The density is excessive. And of course, well, we know that the turtles are gonna be taken care of.
Yeah, that's,
And the property, that we have to go, the issues with the ZBA, I mean, issue with the Conservation
And it's
Commission.
adding a big impact to the traffic without the developer assuming any responsibility for helping in the solution of the traffic problem that this will
Right.
add.
but hope that they
And
may.
I think we wanna make a note that other developers in the area have come forward willingly and made offers to assist in the water, sewer, and traffic mitigation. And with projects that have a lot less impact than this one does. And we can cite that with just a recent one we just passed.
So 40 units, and it's only 7 going to local affordable.
Well, a total of 10, 7 local.
Total of 10, 7 local, that's pretty much, that's kind of token.
Oh, sure.
But that's what 40B is. And I still feel any affordable housing we can get is a plus, but
Yes, it
I
is.
think you gotta.
I think with this one here,
Even though we don't
But
have
30
control, we can
market
express our concerns.
units on undersized lots in a maximized density is a real bonus that.
It's a real
to this
sacrifice.
Developer, and it's a big sacrifice to the city.
it's, what I'm looking at is this plan has very poor, it doesn't meet any kind of planning criteria whatsoever. I can't, without being vicious, I can't say anything else.
But you know, I think the second axis is our strongest hand.
Oh,
I don't think we control anything else.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that the fire department, the police department for safety issues perhaps have more control over that than we do, but I think it's important we express it.
But,
And
so,
may make them come back with another decision.
and I think it was October 13th was their meeting. Maybe I'll plan to go to that ZBA meeting. We really didn't have a hearing. I'll give you 2 minutes. I got someone in the audience who would like to say something.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate it. I know that this matter had appeared later on the agenda, and I understand that Mr. Bergeron was here early.
Yes.
Good evening, my name is Pete Angelini. I'm here this evening in my capacity as Director of the Leominster Land Trust. We are a direct abutter to this proposed project. And again, I think you brought up some interesting points. The developer's attorney said publicly at the first ZBA hearing that they had no intention of paying for or partnering with any off-site improvements as a result of this project, number one. Number two, we have brought to their attention on numerous occasions that a significant portion of this project lies within a priority habitat area as shown on Commonwealth of Massachusetts map. We would just ask that one of the recommendations of the planning board would be that delineation is shown on the plan. And lastly, they were very, very adamant about not going for any site plan approval. And of course, under the Chapter 40B guidelines, they are asking all city boards and commissions for input on the project. Because this is something ZBA generally doesn't deal with environmental issues, doesn't deal with site plan issues. So I think it's important that all the departments add or comment to try to make this project sort of comply and from a safety perspective and from a neighborhood perspective. And I thank you for the opportunity. I don't want to abuse my 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's just that we had that presentation earlier.
Thank you.
We would like to look for a second access road.
Right.
We'd like to delineate endangered or threatened species habitat on the plan for 2. For 3, what were we looking at?
Site accommodate.
Lower density.
Right, reduced density. And
Even though they
some type of off-site mitigation.
wouldn't just be good neighbors.
Reduced density and traffic mitigation. So that's 4 items we would be looking for if we had our wish.
And the site plan approval to come through the planning board. And that the wetlands be delineated, not that the habitat be delineated.
Great. So moved. As a recommendation to the ZBA.
Okay. A motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Here none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. 6.3, City Council Petition Number 28-05. Edward M. Cataldo, amend Article 1, Section 22-12-12.5 of the revised ordinance entitled Non-Conforming Uses, Structures, and Lots by adding or for use authorized by special permit to the end of Section 12.5 and creating a new Section 22-12.5.1 which allow by special permit existing buildings in an industrial or commercial district to be used for other uses listed in Article 2, Section 22-26 as being permitted as of right by special permit.
Okay, this is gonna require a public hearing, which also needs to be advertised, so we're gonna look to put it on November 4th, 7:15.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. You double check on this one. He's got just a special permit. He doesn't say by who.
Okay.
Okay. City Council, 6.4. City Council oh, I got a motion. I need to pass on it. Motion made in do I have a second on that?
Second.
For November 4th at 7:15 with the same condition on advertising. It'd be November 16th if we don't make the advertising. That's the motion. Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Made in second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. 6.4, City Council Petition Number 29-05, Liberty Rental Corp. On behalf of Francis Bartholomew, grant a special permit to construct the Brooks Pond condominium project located at 900 Central Street, as shown on Assessors Map 317, as lots 5A1, 5A2, 5B1, 5B2, and 5D located within the flood plain. Recommendation. Do we have the plans and do we have a
Yes.
recommendation? We had gone through the site plan on this earlier.
Yep.
This is just for.
This is just a
for the
recommendation.
wetland crossing. Is
Oh,
that correct?
okay.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right.
Did you want to see the plan, Chairman?
Yes, I want to see where the floodplain is affected.
So which one shows it the best?
Yeah, lot 5A1. Mr. Pavenzi, you know which one it is?
All this is to do with is the crossing of the, which was already approved, of
Construct the driveway within the floodplain district.
that's all it is. It's just this little area right here as we cross it. We have to excavate, there's a hazardous waste issue that is the Mass Electric. They have permission to remove that, which they have to have a special permit from the city council, and we have to have permission to put the road there. So it's just this particular
Compensatory
area.
storage, where would that be?
It's all in that little area. right
Same
there.
area?
Yeah, it's all
So
right
removing
there.
is equivalent amount to what you put in?
Yeah, it's all,
Balance
all
the
in.
cuts and fills?
Yep.
Well, there's already a little bridge there anyway, isn't there?
Well, this is all part of it. Right now, it's here. We'll construct this one and remove that one. That's
Remove
the-
that one,
that's all.
okay. Okay.
Shift it over. This whole-
Okay.
Okay, so that, I thought we'd looked at that earlier, but
Yeah, this has already been approved by the planning board.
Well, this is, I want to see the second
No, but-
access here we talked about.
but this
I wanna
is
make
a-
sure, because otherwise, we're building the equivalent of a 3-mile long cul-de-sac. What's that second?
Nothing has
access?
changed since the
It's over
approval.
here.
It's over here.
that's that emergency road.
Nothing has changed from the approval.
Good.
Just you
Wanna
need a
make sure
special
that's still on
permit
there.
to go over that. That's all it is.
We just had that issue.
Right.
Did
Yeah,
you
we-
talk to the, house about that?
Yes, I did. This is, I did want to, I actually saw him.
Oh, okay, good.
I sat with him, so,
So it's all set?
yeah.
Very good. Do we have a recommendation for the city council? Do we need a hearing on this?
No, just a recommendation.
Just a recommendation, that's what I thought.
I would make a recommendation that we approve this construction of the Brooks Pond condominium project.
It's just recommendations,
Yeah, it's a recommendation to the city council. I have a motion made, do I have a second? Motion made is to recommend, do I have a second on that?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, do I have any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. I've got a letter here from Pavenzi Incorporated, dated October 5th. This is concerning the Broad Meadow subdivision off of Willard Street, Leominster, Mass. Ownership of space, open space parcel A, 9.12 acres plus or minus open space parcel. Dear Mr. Souza, it's been brought to our attention that during the permitting approval process for the Broad Meadow subdivision, the planning board may have specified that open space parcel be transferred to the city of Leominster. Through our own inadvertence, we're unaware that the planning board may have indicated such intent. Just for a note, it is on the drawing, the land was to be conveyed to the, it's a clustered project, and that the land was to be conveyed to the city, so that is on the drawing, but we did not put it on as a condition. Okay? A review of both the special permit decision for the approval of the cluster development design issued on June 10th, 2002, and of the subdivision approval also issued on June 10th, 2002, does not indicate a condition or requirement of the planning board that the open space parcel be transferred to the city of Leominster. Though the approval subdivision plan does contain notification that the open space parcel was to be transferred to the city, typically a plan notation regarding a proposed conveyance has no legal significance, as absent its inclusion on a board's decision as a condition or requirement of an approval. A plan notification only indicates the then existing intent on the part of the developer. As you know, under the city zoning ordinance, Article 9, Section 22-57-5.4, the open space in a cluster development may be preserved and owned in one of three of the following ways: by a homeowners association whose ownership would be comprised of the lot owners in the development; B, by a non-profit organization, the principal purpose of which is the conservation or preservation of open space; or by 3, by the city of Leominster for open space and natural resource protection, subject to city council approval. As we are aware of an intention on the part of the planning board to offer the open space parcel to the city of Leominster, we decided that the best course would be to transfer the parcel to the Leominster Land Trust, a 501c3 qualified non-profit land conservation organization with community roots. Notwithstanding the above, if the planning board desired the city of Leominster own the open space parcel for conservation purposes, we are confident that the Leominster Land Trust will entertain the immediate transfer of its ownership interest, subject to a permanent conservation restriction upon final approval by the city council. We will then arrange for the delivery of the appropriate deed. I trust this will end the unnecessary controversy. And this is copied myself and the mayor. Okay?
I think it works out fine either way, but there may be some advantage to one way over the other. But something was troubling me there. If a note on a drawing is not going to be considered valid, then I suggest that we add a standard condition to every one of our approvals that all notes shown on the drawing shall be conditions of our approval.
I don't think you can do that, because I think what we should make a note is that...
Otherwise, we're going to have to start writing a condition of everything that appears on the drawing and write it as a separate condition.
May I offer? Only in reference to fee ownership. You notice when you look on a plan, it's now or formerly owned by so-and-so, or to be conveyed to an abutter. Those types of notes are not binding legally.
Not valid with regard to
binding legally. It's my understanding, that the planning board, I want to go to the end of the letter in a second, but the planning board can't determine the fee interest of who is supposed to own the land. It's what the uses are. It's not like, it's a single family home.
Okay.
If I say it's going to be sold to Mr. and Mrs. Dowd, we can't say that it's a condition that Mr. and Mrs. Dowd be the owner. The idea is that it's pretty well set up in case law that the plan board can't dictate who the owners are, but they can dictate what the uses are.
No, but if it's shown on a drawing and we approve that drawing, we assume
I
that's
know
going to
how
happen.
confusing that is, and that's why if you go to the end of the thing, the letter, we're simply saying, hey, we don't, the lawyers in our firm, and we've done this for a long time, don't go to the plan to figure out where to deed things, so.
Well, I think that's okay in this case, but I'm thinking of, in general, in other cases, we've been burned this way in the past, and
I agree with
thought
you.
about how to stop being
Not
burned.
only, but the way we've been burned, is by use. And the issue is that, and I think that, I've had the chance to talk to the chairman a little bit in the last few hours, but the idea is that The key thing to understand in this particular instance is that this land is dedicated as open space, and the city of Leominster has that deed restriction. The question is, should it be, was it the intent of the board to pick one of the three particular ways? In every case, the city of Leominster has the deed restriction.
What happens with the land trust? Is that in deed restricted forever?
Yes, because the city of Leominster has the deed restriction based on the permit.
So it's the land trust with the deed restriction to the city?
Yeah.
So that's as good as the city owning it.
Yes, actually, that's
better.
factually accurate. It's better in some respects for liability.
For liability, but in maintenance.
But it's not like these are the, I think I would be remiss to not mention to the board that, I fought very hard to get in the zoning in 2001, the provision that allowed the city to be one of the designated owners of open space. Prior to that, it was not one of the designated owners. In fact, it was prohibited because it was thought to be taking the land off the tax rolls. In this particular instance, this land, as a developer, I thought that the land trust was better steward, especially with consideration toward the habitat land. And that much of the land that was conveyed was not wetlands, but was in fact upland. And upland over the years has been subject to development expectations. And, but it was an inadvertent thing. I noticed it, I noted it on the plan, and the mayor brought it to my attention. But it wasn't picked up by the attorneys because it wasn't a condition. And we were under the generally accepted principle that any of the three were always were acceptable. That you just, to fulfill the guideline, you simply had to, deed restricted one way or the other. In all instances, it is protected in perpetuity as open space. And in all instances, the city has say over that. Period. The question is, was it the planning board's prerogative, to have this particular one be the city or not? But we can't tell that from the plan.
Okay, Carol.
But just by saying, I think this goes back to what you said earlier, Peter, but I think my understanding of reading the open space regulations is that as long as it's one of those, we as the board, if you come up with us with a plan, say this 20 acres is going to be open space, then I think if we approve it as such, we don't have the authority to say which of the three it's going to be, right? As long as we know it's open space. It's
I
not.
understand that. I understand that.
No, we don't.
See, and that's the whole, and that's the part, I think that's the point you were making earlier. It's just because it
Yeah.
says on the plan that it's to be deeded to the city of Leominster, I don't think we have that authority.
I think, in fact, have you got the copy of the minutes there that we found? And there was a comment that, we looked into this afternoon. There was, in fact, a comment made at the meeting by, I believe, Mr. Hannigan, where he noted that what was on the drawing really was not, and he stated the law as it stated in the letter. And inadvertently, it wasn't changed on the drawing, or it was not noted in the conditions. So it was left on the drawing. Now, not having word by word minutes, we do not know. I just wanted the notation that you had found. We did not know what the intent of the board was at that time. And the comment that we have here, the continued public hearing was called to order at 7:06 with John Souza, Chairman presiding. Mr. Hannigan stated that he wanted some clarity regarding the open space. He said that on the definitive plan, it is noted that the open space partial shall be conveyed to the Conservation Commission. Mr. Hannigan stated that the note should be modified to read, "or other entity as approved by Massachusetts General Law subdivision and regulations." This public hearing was closed at 7:11. There's no comment, we made no comment after that on that condition. So he so noted it, but when we went through our conditions, we missed it.
But I don't know if we have authority to even do, I'm trying to find out.
Well, I think all he was saying was it should have been clarified. And you're right, is because there was actually a condition it's different, where there was a project by Mr. Scholar, I believe, a number of years ago, where the city did in fact say that certain lands of property would be given to the city, and it was the city solicitor after that said that was improper. Okay, so there is in fact at least a ruling in that case where that was improper for us to say that. So I still believe that's true, that it's improper for the planning board to designate, but
it has to be one of the three.
it has to be one of the
It has
three,
to
correct.
be open space, and it has to be in perpetuity.
Right, and
That is correct.
that's the only thing that I found here that gives the planning board such authority. Such restriction shall provide that the common land shall be retained in perpetuity for one or more of the following uses: conservation, agriculture, recreation, or park. Such restriction shall be in such form and substance as the planning board shall prescribe, and may contain such additional restrictions on development and use of the common land as the planning board may deem appropriate. So I don't think we can say who the owner can be, but we can say what the use is.
That is correct.
So,
Yeah, this land is protected in open space. I wanted the board to understand that I consider this to be, a very important issue. Land that's designated open space should stay as such. The controversy in this particular matter is that should it be protected as open space owned by the city of Leominster, or can it be, as the zoning prescribed the other two?
But I thought you said we can't do that.
I don't think we can. I think we can simply say, I don't know what's
So who
before us tonight, if we're
decides?
gonna make some motion to modify what states on the plan, but if that's, I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be.
So who
I don't know.
decides where it goes?
I think that's up to the developer.
The developer does,
Oh, okay.
But
okay,
we tell him,
what the restrictions are.
Yeah,
So if
okay. But I
if
didn't know who
let's,
decided if that's.
let's say it stays, it could be, and I'm gonna give you a couple of different scenarios. It could be a straight conservation restriction. That is, it is used, hands off, don't touch it, leave it the way it is. It's open space. It could be, as this land is open space, but it's also uplands. Let's say this was a larger development and we wanted to say, we're gonna keep it open lands, but we could make it a park. Now we could say it's open space under the Conservation Commission, but as Prospect Park is near me, it's under the control of the Recreation Department. So then the Recreation Department could use it as they see fit, but the Conservation Commission actually controls the property. Or you could say it's open space, we're gonna make it a playground, or an acre of that, and we could designate that as an area to be kept, and the rest of it kept. So the planning board could designate the use of the land, but not the ownership of the land. Okay? As long as it stays as open space. Would that be right, Carol?
yeah, I think that's exactly what, now that I've read this again, reviewed it, I think that's the way it's.
That's the way I understand it. So there seems to be, and we have an offer from Mr. Bavenzi to say whatever the city wishes to do with the property, he's more than willing to have the Leominster Land Trust deed this property to the city. I'm not sure if this body is the correct body to do that.
Well, to clarify, what I've said is that the reason this is open space is because of this board.
Because it's part of the zoning,
Board,
that is correct. Cluster.
And what I'm trying to do is get a handle on whether it was, because it is unclear to me, whether it was the desire of this board to dictate that it was be owned by the city. As we look into the minutes of the meeting, it becomes clear to me that, more clear to me that it wasn't. It seems to be that it was obviously brought up at a public hearing, that the notation on the plan was in error, and furthermore, that it never was put in as a condition, which would probably have not been legal otherwise, anyways. But with me, you know, in the situation like this, is that, you know, there was another developer who brought forward this plan, and I was not present at the public hearings, and I don't know per se what was the intent of this board. And I do take very seriously your intent. So I know it's difficult for you now at this late date to clarify this, but this issue's been sort of put into the public arena, and, you know, I am, as a developer, forced to try to remedy it. In any event, I consider it to be almost moot, because this is being cared for in an extremely well way by the land trust and the city, because the city does have it held in open space in perpetuity, and it is for conservation purposes, as dictated in the zoning ordinance. And that means to be left in its natural state. And that is in perpetuity as it is today. We have had some debate in the public forum as to whether that would be forever. That is not credible debate, because as you all know on this planning board, that is forever, regardless of either one of the three choices that the developer makes. But if, you know, if it is behooves the board to pick one over the other, I think that we should be able to know that.
Is there a copy of that deed?
To the land trust?
Of that deed that shows that,
30 seconds.
that's good.
Well, Peter, I see your point. I guess I see what you're trying to say.
Unless it's moved, but it's like.
Well, I also think our intent of who going back to what I stated earlier, I think our intent is irrelevant as to whom it should go to,
yeah.
because if we didn't, but I think your point is, let's get beyond that, and you're basically saying, kind of in a familiar sort of way, in an informal sort of way, I want it, as long as it stays this way, I don't, you know, we'll deed it to the city if you want us to do that, is what you're saying, but.
Yeah, we remember, I'm the developer, I'm not the land trust, and there's the board of the land trust. I have talked to the board, and I've asked them to be respectful of the fact that the planning board is the ones who made this open space, and if their intent was that we belong to the city, that they would respect that.
Right, I guess he did that.
You wear your cape?
He ran across the street.
As I recall, we were interested in seeing that it would be deed restricted and saved as open space.
Open space.
Period.
Well,
And that's the way it is.
Period.
So
It's already recorded.
well, then it doesn't need to be.
Carol can review that.
Well, I guess I'm saying, well, I guess what I'm saying is that if it says on the plan that it is to be conveyed to the city of Leominster, and that's something that we added, I think that plan should be modified and that should be stricken, and that it should simply say that the open space shall be used as permanent conservation use
but
only.
That refers to the deed restriction being conveyed to the city, is that correct?
That's the reason I think it should be stricken, because I don't think we have the
We don't
authority
have the authority to do that.
to say it should go to the city of Leominster. But if Peter's asking us, I mean, it'd be nice if you did that, because if that was what everyone is relying, if that's what the city was relying on.
Well, I don't think the city had any involvement in this, the city. You know, it was the planning board. This all only lives and breathes because of the planning board discretion under our
Do you think the
zoning.
wording?
Well, again, I'm
should
going
be
to the whole
changed?
point that I think it's, I don't know, do we have those minutes again?
Change the wording on the drawing to conform to the deed that you have?
No, it's interesting, like all, what could happen is like the Leominster Land Trust could eventually deed it to the city, or it could deed it to another nonprofit
Yeah,
land
but
trust.
but you're
But the
telling-
deed restriction doesn't change in any event.
Yeah.
The land cannot
No,
be sold.
it's not saying
It's gonna
who's gonna
stay
keep that.
as
So,
open
but-
space, conservation,
Yeah, that-
protected
in every
You
land.
can
case,
make
it's the
that
same.
decision.
Yes, well, what it is that if we go back in time a little bit before 2001, you couldn't even legally put it to the city of Leominster.
What if
No.
the city
At
council
one
votes
time
to
you could-
return the restriction to you?
Well, what happens is that even if you decided here at the planning board that you wanted it to deed to the city of Leominster, it would have to get approval, and if you look in the zoning, subject to the approval of the city council. In other words, you can't even give a piece of land to the city unless the city council wants it.
Accept it.
And then there's other liabilities, somebody living, hurt on the land, 21E issues, there's all types of issues that run with land. It's questionable what the merit, why the city would actually want it if it knew that it was protected in perpetuity. In some instances, the city may want it if they wanted to use it for some of the other uses.
But
Parks,
if it goes to the
recreation, but this is
trustees,
for turtles.
it doesn't have to go before the city council.
That would have
So
to
we
come
just-
back to the city it would, no, it'd have to come back to us. If there was a change to be made to that property,
Yeah.
it could come back to us in the future, and we probably could make a change
In
to the
terms,
use.
I mean, be more clear, in terms of you, no.
If it was
No,
city,
No,
You can't change the use.
no.
no.
It would
Yeah.
get rid of, the entire approval of the special permit would be invalid.
But you know,
Right.
all right,
It'd be no different than somebody putting a house on their front lawn.
No, you can't. The
Yeah.
use
So
will
you
always
already
be
used the
conservation.
use of the land.
Right.
so anyhow, we made the conditions that we want, but you are the one who could say it could go to the trustees.
That's the way I interpreted
And
it.
so then it wouldn't have to go before the city council, because they wouldn't
No.
resolve the responsibility. But then if you decided you wanted to hand it over to
That
the
would be,
city,
that
then
would,
it'd
that
go
would
before
not
the city.
require additional planning board approval.
No,
No.
but you would have to go to the city council if you want
Right.
to hand it over to, but if you kept control of it, it would stay with you, but we don't make that decision, you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the bottom line of this is that, when you begin off on this trek of setting aside land, there's three different ways of doing it. Now, we've had, for example, Harvard Estates, it is so is under the first one with the landowners having control of it. But they have certain interests, and they get a small difference, like $10, $20 on their tax bill, they own it, the public does not have access to it, etc. In this particular instance, if you have the city of Leominster own it, then the city of Leominster has certain controls over it. The land trust is
Originally, when they had
also
this,
has public access.
it didn't go to the landowner, it went to the city or anybody else, and the city council changed it. And then we worked on it and came back with the change what we've got now.
Right.
So
In the
that's what it
past,
should
prior
be.
to 2001, you could not give it to the city.
The city couldn't.
Yeah.
And I think you and I both
Yeah,
were very
because
much in favor of it
when
going
we
to the
had
city
the
if they
first growth
wanted it.
management committees, we had long talks about this.
No, I agree with that.
And it was done right then, and then it was changed by the city councils because they thought they'd get more on taxes.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
then when we did this review of zoning, it's when we went back to where it should be.
Right, and and I may be inaccurate on this, but I think I'm accurate, that generally speaking, the actual fee ownership of land is beyond the realm of decision-making of the planning board.
That's correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
Like,
So we can't do
who
that.
owns it,
Yeah.
doesn't, but the use is of your discretion,
Right.
and and then we gave up certain things in terms of lot size and the number of lots. I would point out, this is the abutting property to the property that you looked at earlier. It is actually a little bit larger, has 8 homes on it versus 40, and has more than 50% of the land as open space. Yet we are being put in a position of being sort of chastised, if you will, for not that whether we have created this large and valued open space, of whether it belongs to the city or not. We believe that has been brought up only because that the land trust is very concerned about the the endangered species habitat area, the diversity of wildlife that is important there. And if you look at the connection that the planning board has made with the open space that you created at Castleland and the open space that you created with Broad Meadow and the open space by the purchase of the Flanagan land, the development that you see in front of you on the 40B cuts that off completely, totally disrespects it, and totally goes to the opposite of all the values that you have promoted. The Land Trust has publicly been opposed to that. Now, they have standing because of ownership, so it's been brought up that they shouldn't have ownership. And our position is simply, from a developer's point of view, our intent, we could not have predicted 2 years ago that the outside developer would come in with a 40B project and endangered species habitat, that they would be abutters to a land trust. Our position was to protect the land and to live up to our commitment that it would be open space. It has now been brought up through some novation on a plan, which has also been disclosed in the minutes, not that been accurate, has been sort of a conspiracy to think in advance of what might be proposed on an abutting piece of land. We want to just get away from that as developers. Our intent is that it be open space, and our intent is to do what the planning board wants us to do. And we never would diverge from that. And so we felt that it was important to get your opinion as to what you wanted.
Okay, I'm gonna, I'm trying to cut this. I'm gonna ask I hope I'm not out of order. Yeah, as soon as we have the council president here. Does the city council have any interest in this land at all? Or yourself personally?
You know,
And I don't want to put you on the spot.
As I sit here, I can remember Mr. Bevenzi and myself discussing something similar to this back over on Litchfield Street when he was building the project there. If you remember right, Peter?
Yeah.
There was some land there and
Dogwood and...
No, this was down closer to Litchfield Street.
Okay.
But yes, the one that John Kay was part of, and that land in there that was close to the ball field and so forth. And what you did, you kept it and evenly parceled it off to the owners of the property, I believe, at that time. Because there was nothing we could do as taking that land for the city or saying it should go to the city unless you want to give it to the conservation. To me, I think the simplest way to handle it is that, the way I understand the minutes and so forth, that there was a misunderstanding or we couldn't do what we had the intentions of doing, and the solution at that time was that Mr. Bevenzi in turn gave it or deeded it to the land trust. And I would say leave it in the land trust jurisdiction. That way there, unless you want to deed it to the city, then it has to come before the city council to accept it. And then it would be to the Conservation Commission more likely because of the land. I think the simplest solution, and maybe I'm wrong, but is the Leominster Land Trust is part of one of the three. So why break something?
I'm comfortable with that too.
Our intent was to protect the land, and it's been done by entrusting it to the Leominster Land Trust with the deed restriction, and I think that has met the intent of the planning board.
Okay. What I'd like to do is, this is not a motion. I think a motion would be that I'm going to ask our acting director to compose a letter to Mr. Bevenzi, copying the mayor, that we'd like to see this plan for it to stay in its current land trust position, and that a recommendation be made. And this is where I'm a little not sure, that the drawing be corrected, okay, to reflect that. Now, that's, I'm not sure where we stand on that one, so I might, let's make that a separate, let's look into that. Let's do the first part and say that we recommend that it stay with the current land trust recommendation. The second part is I'll personally ask you to look into what the feasibility is of correcting that drawing to have the proper notation on it. Because at this point, I'm not sure how that, I don't want to muddy the waters too bad. I'm not sure what we can and what we can't do to that drawing today.
Yeah,
You know, because
I
it's been,
understand now.
yeah,
Even if it had, just so that, I don't mean to interrupt with the motion, but like if it said to be conveyed to the city of Leominster, the city council may not accept it.
well, that's right.
And so that's, I think, part of the, even if you look in the zoning, provided it's accepted by the city. You know, so.
Well, that's why I think it should just be stricken, it should just say that it's to be used for conservation.
Yeah, then
I think all we can do is state what the use is and not who the owner is.
We're not,
One of the things that
that's what I'm saying,
we
so
offered, one of the things we offered, I want to, you know, I suggested, and Mr. Angelini actually came up with the idea, is to have the land trust and the city own it jointly. Is to having two, you know, if it turns out that there is someone in power in the city that feels that it's possible that the land trust go out of vogue or not be the same people, I've heard different conversations about it, as such, that would be a very valid compromise. I mean, but I think they're gonna, anything that, but in terms of, I wanted to make sure, based on my relationship with the planning board, that if the planning board, if this was an inadvertent thing, and the planning board really wanted this for some reason to go particularly to one of the three, that I would know, I would be able to find out about that. But with the minutes, having stated that it was to be the way it was, it's more clear to me now. I didn't know that before.
Yeah, so we have that, that way, that sort of clears that up, that it is the discretion of the developer, and that the current property is in the control, deeded to the land trust, and that it stay there. Now, if the developer and the land trust, or the land trust at this point, wishes to make an offer to the city for joint ownership, then that's between the land trust and the city council, and the planning board would not be involved at all.
But as long, you wouldn't be opposed to it either.
No, we're not opposed to it at all. We're not opposed to it.
So the big difference would be that if the city owned it, the public could go on that land?
No, the public can go on the land, if the land trust owns it all.
Even with the land trust, the public can go on that land, is that correct?
Yes.
Sure.
Can I just offer,
No,
if I may, real quick, especially because the media is here, our board of directors meets tomorrow night. I just want to make sure that if any of the members of the board of directors of the land trust picks up the newspaper tomorrow, they don't read that the land trust has agreed to something that they're unaware of. So we will bring this matter before the board of directors, but we've always been more than willing to work with the city of Leominster and all its officials. We consider ourselves partners, although at times it's a lonely place to be. But I think it's important. What's important to the land trust and to conservation organizations as far as ownership of these types of parcels is the following, and I'll be very brief. I am a former member of the Conservation Commission in the city of Leominster. And we owned a piece of property as a Conservation Commission member between Creasy Street and the Lincoln Woods. And it was conservation land. And for the longest time, they wanted to build a t-ball field there. And I was opposed to it until one night in this very room, 50 to 75 parents and as many little children walked in and pleaded for us to turn that land over to them. We did. And come to find out years later, that was also a habitat area. So there were places where softball fields and soccer fields belong, and there are a few places in town where they don't. And it's very easy politically for city boards, not unlike this one, but because I sat one night, to be swayed to say, okay, you know what, we need a soccer field, and let's convert this from conservation to recreation. And so this piece in particular, because of its really rare habitat values, we think it's really important that we make sure it's maintained conservation land in perpetuity. And again, real quick, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 members of this board who probably recall about 3 or 4 years ago, I came in because of a subdivision on the west side of Leominster, if you recall, where it said on the definitive subdivision plan, 30 acres to be conveyed to the city of Leominster. And what happened? 10 acres later became housing. So I'm really familiar with this, and it's been a thorn in my side. And the last thing the land trust would ever do is try to deceive this board or any other board or commission or my dear friends on the council. So
Okay.
we appreciate your wisdom on this matter, and I will thank you.
I have a motion on the floor for the letter to Mr. Taylor. Do I have any further discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no, and motion carries. Do I have a director's report?
Just a reminder, tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock in this room, the second interview for the candidates.
That is an open meeting.
Yes,
6 o'clock or 6:30?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock tomorrow. Okay. 6 o'clock.
I'll try my best. My second shift has been,
Which room?
Regular.
my second shift has been,
So that's the interview for the,
You might have to start interviewing for a second shift.
I'm gonna,
Okay.
I know.
okay. Do I have anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Motion made, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries.
Red Sox
Thank
won.
you.
9-3.
Nine to three?
9-3.
9 to 3.
I thought it was 10.